Hello, I'm Mrs. Blevins, and this is for ceramics 1, 2, and 3. This is how to work at home with clay. So the first thing that I want to talk about is you picked up a kit, blue for ceramics 2 and 3. Basically, it came with a lid and a bucket. You can use these as storage containers for your clay, which is the reason why we kind of got these for you. So if you want to store clay, you can always put it inside of the bucket, leave everything else outside of the bucket, and then just put, the cover on, and then you'll have a nice kind of place to store clay. That's one of the reasons why we gave this to you. The second reason would be if you needed to carry your project back and forth to Blaine, you'd have something to carry it in. Obviously, you wouldn't bring all of this other stuff with you, but that's kind of what it was. Ceramics 1 got a white bucket. It's exactly the same. And so use it to carry your clay or to store it. And I usually use it upside down to store it. That way you have some space for stuff, okay, and it doesn't get bumped. So that is the bucket. You got 6 pounds of clay. Now, this is your clay that you're gonna have at home. So it needs to be in a bag at all times. If it does start to dry out, then there are ways to kind of bring it back. One of the ways that you can bring it back is with a wet or damp t-shirt. Just take an old t-shirt that you have kind of lying around and get it completely wet, wring it out, and then wrap up your clay and then put it back into a bag. It would be even safer if you could store it inside of your bucket, but if you already have clay projects in there, that's not going to work out. Both things won't fit in there. So you are going to need to take care of this clay. When we did this, we cut these out. They should be 6 pounds a piece. Okay, so that's your clay. Please keep it in the bag at all times. We gave you this tube. What is it for? It's a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, this is a great thing to use as a rolling pin. The other thing that you can use this for is a form for probably be pretty small, but for a small mug, okay? So this one would be a little bit small. We will make a mug near to the end of the try. Usually this one was made with a pop can or a soup can, and this is the kind of first fired size of it. So this is actually bisqueware clay. So you can use this as either a form for something or a rolling pin. We put it in here for a rolling pin. Loop tool. This is a loop tool. Everybody got a different one because we didn't have enough to send the same one home. So it just depends on which ends you got. They all pretty much work the same. They can be used to carve out things. They can be used for texture. You can use it to do lots of stuff in clay. Sponge. We gave you a half of a sponge. You can also get this wet and put it inside of your clay bag if you need to hydrate your clay just slightly. You can also put this into your bucket with your clay to keep it hydrated as well. And obviously you would want to put it all inside of a plastic bag. So that's what the sponge is for. The sponge can also be used to smooth items. So you can get it wet and smooth your project with it. Okay, so that's what the sponge is for. Fimo clay we have started using this already. This is something that you were making stamps out of, so everybody knows what this is. This is actually, it went out in several colors. Pencil, just in case you didn't have one. A popsicle stick. So the popsicle stick is a little bit more, it can either be used as a wood tool, a texture tool, or we're going to show you how to make a tool with a paper clip and the popsicle stick. Finally, we put inside of this a rib. It's a rib for use with your clay. You are going to have to cut it, and we'll show you how to cut that in the Making Tools demo. This is your sketchbook. You should have decorated the cover of it. It's just kind of nice to have a cover that is decorated. You can decorate with your pencil, a pen, whatever. It is one of the first assignments that we do in Ceramics 1, so that you have a nice decorated sketchbook cover. It is half the size that we normally use in my class, but it should be okay to use for your designs and things. So this is going to be your visual journal for the rest of the trimester, okay? Make sure you put your name on it, because if you bring this back and forth, which we're probably going to ask you to do, if these get left here, we need to know we need to have some kind of identifying markings on it so that we know that it's yours. Finally, there's a piece of black tar paper. Tar paper is a great surface in which to work on. It also can be used as a template for something, so use this. Clay should not stick to it, and it will actually keep your clay somewhat moist if you use this. It has tar on it. It's basically for your roof, and it's meant to be somewhat waterproof. So this is a good way to keep, a little bit of moisture in your clay as well. Other than that, you might need a towel or a wet t-shirt in order to kind of bring your clay back to life. You might need extra plastic bags or bags to carry your stuff in, which we do have a video on how to carry clay back and forth. And so that would be useful to you as well. If you had a brush, a small paintbrush, not a big one, not just a small watercolor brush, that would work. There's a few other items, a yogurt container, or some kind of small container that you could use to put slip in. There's lots of different things that you could use. But this is basically how to work with clay at home and what was inside of your bin. Basically, what we're going to ask you to do is, if you're distance only, you're going to be working completely at home, and so you're going to be following the same instructions, but you're going to be doing it at home. If you're coming in for either the hybrid days, so AA or BB, you should be bringing some of the stuff. Now, we have extra clay here. We don't need you to bring this clay back. You can use our clay while you're here. It's the same clay. If you want to bring your project, then what you would want to do is you would want to put your project probably in with a series of either, newspaper crumpled up, plastic bags crumpled up, something to kind of keep it from moving around too much. Generally, if you put your project in here in some plastic bags or something along those lines, it should be pretty safe. Okay? So if you're bringing stuff back, that's what I would do. You do not have to bring stuff back. If you want to work here during your hybrid time on something else, you can as well, and just work on the projects at home. All right. So that's how to work with clay. And again, I'm Mrs. Blevins, and this was for Ceramics 1, 2, or 3.